are there when it comes to the experimentation and being forerunners of newer forms. So, till 19th century, most of the plays or dramas, whether written down for stage or street performance or a literary expression to be in the form of the book, were adaptations of epics and various religious canons, but altered to suit the local cultural milieu. Talking of Kalidasa, not only Indians but people all over the world were charmed by it. The writing for early modern Indian drama was gripped with the English fever thanks to the colonial rulers. The early and mid 19th century witnessed Indian playwrights adopting Western plays and Western methods in the place of traditional Indian theatre in the Indian languages. And by the time India got independence in 1947, the Indian playwrights were acutely aware of the Western techniques and the content. In hindsight, one may safely conclude that the experimentation with the Western techniques was probably much needed, for the Indian theatre grew richer by every year since 1947. One should not misconstrue that adaptations of Western techniques by the Indian playwrights means Indians threw away Indian content and adopted wholesomely Western content. By and large, the content remained Indian in nature. The need to produce plays easily relatable by the audience across the country, especially in the vast rural spaces, was also another reason. Even the attempts to bring home the Western content was highly watered down to suit the Indian sensibilities of the audience. In the decades leading up to the independence was marked by the nationalist plays in many languages. Of course, people did write, produce traditional plays and plays based on myths. Rabindranath Tagore, Gurjat Apparao, Dalpat Ram and others paid attention to social issues as well. Kanya Sulkam is one famous example in Telugu language. The important development in the post-independence period in India was a range of plays in many languages where the playwrights took up myths, ancient and medieval, and linked them with the contemporary reality to produce plays. Listen Janmeje by Sriranga, Hayavadana by Girish Karnad, Evam Indrajit by Badal Sarkar, Gidari by Vijay Tendulkar, Siri Sampike by Chandrasekhar Kampar, Andhayuk by Dharmavir Bharati are some of the examples for this development and progress. Stage setting, lighting, acoustics, etc. have developed to a great extent thanks to the advancements in technology. Coming to the present, young playwrights are creating their own contents devoid of the myths and remote past put reflecting completely the contemporary social reality. Today, the world is talking about the role of augmented reality not only in classrooms and conferences but in plays too. Any change should be welcomed and tested. All in all, the future of playwriting in India looks bright even in the background of thinning of audience, especially in urban spaces of India. Friends, I am glad to welcome Sri Bhanu Bharati, eminent playwright, theatre director, and best known for his bold innovations and creativity in Indian theatre, who has kindly agreed to be a chief guest of this afternoon. And he graduated from National School of Drama and bagging the best all-round student and the best director awards. And he has more than 70 productions to his credit and also directed a film on Gavari, the dance theatre of the Bhil. Sri Bhanu Bharati headed the drama department of Rajasthan University, Jaipur. He has served as the director of the Sri Ram Center for Performing Arts, Delhi, and headed Bharatiya Lok Kala Mandal, Udaipur. He was also the chairman of Rajasthan Sangeet Natak Academy and Rajasthan Sahitya Academy. Sri Bharati has been honored with many prestigious national awards for his contribution to the field of theatre, including the Sangeet Natak Academy Award, Nandikar Award for a lifetime contribution to theatre, and Rajasthan Sahitya Academy Award. Welcome to Sri Bhanu Bharati ji. With this few words, I am glad to welcome our President, Professor Chandrasekhar Kambarji, and all the participants who are taking part in this symposium. Thank you all.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आदरणीय राव साहब। मैं बहुत ही आदर के साथ आदरणीय भानु भारती जी को आमंत्रित करता हूँ उद्घाटन वक्तव्य के लिए।
आज के इस परिसंवाद में मुझे पुरोहित का रिचुअल निभाने के लिए जो आपने बुलाया, उसके लिए मैं साहित्य अकेडमी और ख़ासतौर से प्रेसिडेंट अकादमी के कंबार साहब और सेक्रेटरी के श्रीनिवास साहब का आभारी हूँ। जैसा कि हम जानते हैं कि नो प्रेजेंट एग्जिस्ट विदाउट द पास्ट, तो थोड़ी सी चर्चा मैं पीछे की इसलिए करना चाहता हूँ कि उसकी जो आज के संदर्भ में प्रासंगिकता है उसे हम थोड़ा सा एक कॉन्टेक्स्ट में रखकर देख सकें। आज़ादी से पहले भारत के हर क्षेत्र में लोक नाट्य की अलग अलग परंपराएं थी, लेकिन अंग्रेज़ों के प्रभाव में भारत का शहरी साम्राज्य वर्ग उनसे पूरी तरह कट चुका था और पूरे जी जान से अंग्रेजी भाषा और सभ्यता को अपनाने की होड़ में था। इसी के चलते भारत में आधुनिक रंगमंच की शुरुआत की प्रेरणा अंग्रेजी ड्राइंग रूम नाटक थे, जो अंग्रेज़ों की नकल में शहरी भारतीय संभ्रांत वर्ग को केवल मनोरंजन के लिए थे। लेकिन 30-40 के दशकों तक आते आते गंभीर लेखकों तथा संस्कृति कर्मियों का ध्यान समाज को शिक्षित और संस्कारित करने के प्रभावी भूमिका निभा रहे पश्चिमी नाट्य लेखकों और नाट्य पद्धतियों की ओर गया और हमारे यहाँ भी ऐसे प्रयास शुरू हुए। इसमें रविंद्रनाथ की पहल बहुत महत्वपूर्ण थी। उसी दौर में हिंदी में भारतेंदु ने न सिर्फ नाटक लिखे, उन्हें मंचित भी किया। उसी का प्रभाव था बाद में हिंदी के बड़े कवि जयशंकर प्रसाद और महत्वपूर्ण उपन्यासकार प्रेमचंद भी नाट्य लेखन की ओर प्रवृत्त हुए। इसी तरह दूसरी भारतीय भाषाओं में भी कई कवियों उपन्यासकारों ने नाट्य लेखन के गंभीर प्रयास किए, लेकिन उनके पीछे प्रेरणा वही पश्चिमी नाटक और नाटककार थे। इसके अलावा बंगाल और महाराष्ट्र के कुछ शहरों को छोड़कर मंचन के संसाधन और उसकी व्यवहारिक समझ का भारत में नितांत अभाव था। ऐसे में अगर नाटक लिखे भी गए तो उनके रंगावतरण के अभाव में वे सामने नहीं आए या फिर साहित्यिक पत्रिकाओं पुस्तकों तक ही सीमित होकर रह गए। खुद रविंद्रनाथ तक के नाटकों के असली रंग रूपांतरण के लिए वर्षों शंभु मित्र जैसी रंग प्रतिभा की प्रतीक्षा करनी पड़ी। इस संदर्भ में मैं यहाँ भारतीय रंगमंच की एक बड़ी त्रासदी का जिक्र करना चाहूँगा। संसाधनों और व्यावहारिक रंगमंच के अभाव में हम एक ऐसी प्रतिभा से वंचित रह गए जिसने 1947 के बाद न केवल नाट्य साहित्य अपितु पूरे भारतीय रंगमंच की दशा दिशा बदल कर रखती होती। समय रहते पहचान न होने और हिंदी में उस समय व्यावहारिक रंगमंच के अभाव ने एक विलक्षण नाटककार को कूड़ेदान में फेंक दिया। यह कोई अतिशयोक्ति नहीं, हकीकत है। बेघरवाद और दर बदर भुवनेश्वर प्रसाद ने विशेषकर 1946 के बाद से 1950 के वर्षों में नाट्य लेखन में जो प्रयोग किए वे पश्चिमी नाटकों में भी बहुत बाद में देखने को मिले। पश्चिम में एब्सर्ड नाटकों के प्रादुर्भाव से बहुत पहले 1946 में उन्होंने तांबे के कीड़े जैसा एब्सर्ड नाटक लिखा, जो मेरे विचार से विश्व नाट्य साहित्य का पहला एब्सर्ड नाटक है।
बहुत अच्छी बात है।
और ये जो एब्सर्डिटी उन्होंने बरामद की, वो पश्चिमी एग्जिस्टेंशलिस्ट एब्सर्डिटी से बिल्कुल प्रभावित नहीं थी। वो नितांत भारतीय संदर्भों में हमारे जीवन की विडंबनाओं से डिस्कवर्ड एब्सर्डिटी थी। 1948 के जनवरी अंक में उनका नाटक आजादी की नींद छपता है, जिसमें वे कहते हैं आजादी सड़क पर उड़ रही बासी अखबार की खबर है। आजादी का जो हश्र हम आज देख रहे हैं, भुवनेश्वर उसके लिए हमें तभी सचेत कर रहे थे। जरा नाटक के पात्रों पर गौर कीजिए। एक पेशेवर नेता, ईमानदार बातून, एक विशेषज्ञ, एक कम सुखन, एक कवि, एक नौकर, मिसेज ईमानदार बातून, मिस कटारा, बूढ़ी दाई। आज के संदर्भों में क्या ये सब पात्र हम पहचान नहीं रहे? इसी तरह सिकंदर, खामोशी भारतीय इतिहास की विडंबना को भाषित करने वाले नाटक हैं। भुवनेश्वर केवल कथ्य के स्तर पर ही नहीं, नाट्य भाषा और नाट्य शिल्प को लेकर भी जो प्रयोग करते हैं, उनमें हमारे समाज के रंगमंच, उनमें हमारे आज के रंगमंच के लिए भी बहुत सीखने को है। कल हम उस विगत के कूड़ेदान को खंगालें। 1955-56 के बाद भुवनेश्वर का किसी को कोई पता नहीं, बस यह मान लिया गया कि वे लावारिस हाल में बनारस या लखनऊ में कहीं मर गए। उनका जिक्र यहाँ इतने विस्तार में इसलिए किया कि 47 के बाद के नाटकों और रंगमंच का जो सेलिब्रेटेड इतिहास है, जिसका जिक्र अक्सर होता है, वो हम सब लोग बखूबी जानते हैं। लेकिन जिसे नहीं जानते या जिसे कूड़ा समझकर हमने हाशिए पर गुहार दिया है, आजादी के इस अमृत महोत्सव में उस ओर भी हम दृष्टिपात करें। रंगमंच ही नहीं, देश के सामने आज जो संकट उपस्थित हैं, क्या पता इतिहास के इस कूड़ेदान से ही हमें कहीं कोई हल मिले। 47 के बाद की हमारी उपलब्धियों पर तो विचार सत्र में आप लोग बात करेंगे ही। उम्मीद करता हूँ देश और दुनिया के सामने आज जो मानवीय संकट गहरा रहा है, उस पर भी हम विचार करेंगे। रंगमंच पर यह संकट उतना ही भारी है जितना मानवीयता पर। थैंक यू।
विडंबनाओं का एक पूरा दौर चल रहा है, उसमें आप पूरे वैश्विक परिवेश में अगर देखें तो ये तमाम नाटक, तमाम कला की विधाएं, ऐसी रचनाएं हमको रास्ता दिखाने के लिए ज़रूर आगे आती हैं। मैं बहुत आदर व्यक्त करता हूँ भानु भारती जी के प्रति, और मैं अब आमंत्रित करता हूँ अध्यक्षीय वक्तव्य के लिए प्रख्यात नाटककार आदरणीय चंद्रशेखर कंबार जी को, जो कि साहित्य अकादमी के सम्मानित अध्यक्ष हैं।
फ्रेंड्स, ये नहीं
Friends, my friend Banu Bharati and Srinivas Rao, and many more friends, and ladies and gentlemen. Just when I was National School of Drama chairman, I received a letter from France or something like that to send the World Theatre Day a message. I sent the message. I will read it first. Theatre is the last means of humanization and in a world threatened with mechanization and globalization. It is not only the art of all arts, but has absorbed into itself with the best magic, ritual and religion. However, the secret of theatre is the element of wonder. In spite of using many rules of many games, it goes beyond the rigid grammar and makes for spontaneity. It rids individual and communities of mutual estrangement and provides for harmony, understanding, criticism, and change within and without. This precious art of mankind should not be allowed to be trampled down by the forces of the now rampant commercialization, terrorism, and militarization. My own region of Karnataka has created and promoted for ages a rich multiplicity of theatres ranging from tribal to the classical. Its contribution to the modern Indian and world theatre is also considerable. By invoking the strength of this achievement, I appeal to fellow theatre workers both at home and elsewhere to work non-stop for the promotion and dissemination of the art of theatre, which is at once most human and divine. Friends, just a peep into the vast influencing history of the Indian theatre will see us through the present situation. On this context, I would like to draw your attention to certain features at the beginning of the history of Indian theatre. I feel that our theatre has developed in 3 distinct phases. The experiment of Farsi Theatrical Company during the middle of 19th century inaugurated the modern theatre movement in India first. Farsi Theatre Company was responsible for the growth of genre of drama in many Indian languages. The newly emerging middle class patronized the new theatre activities. But very soon films began to allure the people and the support for theatre dwindled. The actors of Farsi Theatrical Company moved to the film land. The film today is alive and growing fast just because it offers to audience whatever they demand. Professional theatres that model themselves over the Farsi Theatrical Company are still alive in parts of the country. They are still alive and will survive so long as they fulfill the needs of the people. It is indeed very difficult to explain the psychology of the mass, but it is true that the theatre mirrors the needs felt deep down the psyche of people. The society realizes its own self through its theatre. The professional theatre that we find today has its roots in the Farsi Theatrical Company, and this theatre is gradually developing its own language. This is number 1. Number second is, the second most important experiment in our theatre was the introduction of the genre of literary drama. In the beginning of, because we knew Shakespeare, now we newly read Shakespeare, and we were very much impressed by his literary qualities, poetic qualities, and such theatre also began in India also. The second most important experiment in our theatre was introduction of the genre of literary drama. In the beginning of this century, literary drama attempted to create a new kind of theatre which was necessarily different from the model provided by the Farsi theatrical company. Many new playwrights rebelled against the pomp and show of the professional theatre. They mocked at the theatricality of the theatre and championed for the cause of new theatre model on the realistic theatre of the best. They firmly believed that the function of drama was to reflect the social behavior and to expose the follies of our own people. They were fascinated by the new image of man whose dynamic consciousness would invigorate the dull roots of our society. Thus, the message became more important than the form or language of theatre or the art of theatre. There was a conflict between the message and the art, a controversy of what is true and what is false in art, and the new dramatic considered that the professional theatre presented a false identity of the society. The new dramatists engaged themselves in search for new identity of the society. Thus, the choice was between what was false and what was true, and between what is artistic and what was not artistic. Literary drama considered theatre as only a crude medium. The dramatists did not give enough attention to the concept of theatre, creates and translates the dramatic reality in its own terms. These new dramatists vanished in music and dance from stage, and what remained was the verbal reality of the written play. Verbal reality. As a result of this extreme stand and this wrong definition of realism, there was no difference between reading a play and watching it on the stage. The drama was divorced from theatre, and this separation caused a cultural crisis. Thirdly, we have seen in our country a new interest in what can be termed as folk theatre. The folk theatre is not a medium for anything else, but it is a live contact where the actors and audience participate and share common theatrical experience. For the literatures, the theatre is just and only a medium. Why do we need the theatre at all if we expect it to give us a replica of what we experience when we read a play? Theatre is not and should not be a reproduction of the reading experience. Thus, in recent years, there is a search for developing a total theatre, complete in itself and rooted in its regional culture. The modern theatre in India did not have a discipline in the beginning. What I meant by discipline is a conscious awareness of the transformation of personality. What W.B. Yeats calls theatrical sense or putting a mask. Modern theatre took a long time to understand the relation between the dramatic text and theatrical performance. The National School of Drama was established to invent and create this discipline. It attempts to combine the three strains of professional theatre, the literary theatre and the folk theatre, and to evolve a synthetic theatre that would answer the needs of the present society. The NSL has become the only representative institution of the theatrical art outside the country. In the modern world, we are facing a crisis of culture. Art, which is commercialized, has become a commodity and also a matter of luxury. The only two dominant institutions of the modern world are commerce and politics, and even science has become a tool in the hands of these institutions. They have changed the pattern of human relationships. What is more dangerous is the fact that a day may come when the human world will be replaced by the machines which can speak, sing and translate and even think on our behalf. It seems to me that art is the only hope of our world. Let me confine myself to drama and theatre and see that the theatre shall not be replaced by anything which is not theatre. What is at the center of the theatre is the human being. Once it was God's with his aspirations, the dreams, sorrows and happiness, and even his bondage and freedom. The universe, which was a mystery a few hundred years ago, is being demystified, and what we have is a sense of emptiness. Only art in general and theatre in particular, I believe, has the power to fill this emptiness. Thank you.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आदरणीय चंद्रशेखर कंबार जी। डॉक्टर चंद्रशेखर कंबार जी ने नाटक के विकास से लेकर के उसके जो तमाम चरण रहे हैं उन पर बात की और ये भी बताया कि अगर कोई एक आशा की किरण किसी में दिखती है तो कलाएं ही हैं जो तमाम परेशानियों, तमाम समस्याओं से हमें निकाल सकती हैं और उनमें भी उन्होंने नाटक को विशेष कला के रूप में रेखांकित किया। मैं बहुत ही आदर व्यक्त करता हूँ आपके इस अध्यक्षीय वक्तव्य के लिए। ये सत्र यहाँ पर संपन्न होता है। हम 5 मिनट के लिए अपने मंच सज्जा को बदलेंगे, उसके बाद हमारा विचार सत्र शुरू होगा। मैं अतिथियों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और अभिनंदन करता हूँ। दूसरा सत्र शुरू